Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan-Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much for joining me for another amazing session of the Daily African Proverbs. My name is Simon Javan-Okello and I am in Seattle, Washington. We are live and direct with you on YouTube. I will be sharing the link at the top of the room on Clubhouse in just a second. And we're also live and direct here on Clubhouse. And as usual, every Wednesday, my special guest is none other than the incredible Chioma Sheri, who is joining us. Chioma, where are you joining us from, by the way? I just want you to share with us where you're joining us from.
Oh, I'm actually in New York right now. So.
Oh, you're in New York. Nice. Excellent. So every Wednesday, Chioma, who is an amazing poet, a writer, a creative genius, and just a humble leader, is my special guest. And one of the things I love about hosting Chioma every Wednesday is that she takes these proverbs and turns them into a poem. And, Chioma is going to share with us this poem at the beginning of our conversation, maybe in the next few minutes, not at the very beginning, but also at the end. So you have to stay at the end because, it's just powerful to hear this proverb after you've heard most of our conversation today. So I want to encourage you, if you are on Clubhouse with us, I want to encourage you to ping in 3 to 5 people. Think about 3 to 5 people that need to be here with us now and ping them in. If you don't know how to ping people in, there's the plus button at the bottom of your screen. If you click that, you'll see people popping up on your screen and you can literally tap their names, and that's how to ping people in. The other thing also is you can share this room through the bottom left corner of your screen on Clubhouse. You can literally, share this room within Clubhouse and let people know that you are inside an amazing conversation on Clubhouse, and you're on a journey with us to Equatorial Guinea, where we are taking this virtual journey today. So feel free to do that. Then finally, I would love for you to also clip these conversations. The Caesar at the bottom of your screen allows you to clip what we are saying and share it on Twitter so that we can continue spreading African wisdom to our brothers and sisters who cannot be here with us today. And in just a moment, I will share the link for the YouTube conversation that we are having with Chioma today. But really, I'm grateful to be here. And I want to invite Chioma. I do see that Simply E, the poetess, has just joined us. And Simply E helps with promoting the Wednesday sessions and also helps with, helping to guide this Wednesday session. So I'm going to bring you up on stage, Simply E. And, Gogo if you can, and Johnny, and, everybody else on the stage. If you want to join us to share your perspectives in a moment. I see Raphael is also joining me from Kisumu. Raphael, works for the county government of Kisumu, but also works with One Vibe Africa as our grant writer. So please follow him. Him and our team in Kenya are planning some amazing events here on Clubhouse in the coming weeks. So if you follow him, you'll be able to learn more when those events begin happening. Now, Chioma, how are you? And when you read this proverb from Equatorial Guinea, I actually think this proverb is hilarious, but it's
no,
very,
I do too. First one, I was like, what?
I think it's hilarious, but I think it's very true. So I'll pin it to the top of the room so that everybody who is with us on Clubhouse can actually read the whole proverb and be able to dissect it and share their perspectives with us. But Chioma, when you looked at this proverb when I sent it to you, what came to your mind?
You know what was so funny? So I saw it and I laughed. I was like, what? But it didn't like right away hit me like super deeply. I mean, the first thing immediately I thought was like, okay, that's silly. Why would you compete with an elephant at doing that? So that was my first thought. Which I think kind of still holds true. Like, it still makes sense. Like, why would you compete with the elephant at defecating? And so I went and like further did some research, because to me, like right off the head, I was like, the elephant is this huge animal that like defecates like a ton. So why would I compete with it? So I did some research, right? Just to get some facts. And so the elephant, right? So the elephant eats like about 100 all the way up to 300 pounds of food a day. And then it defecates 8 to 10 times per day. And a human, right, we only eat 3 to 4 pounds a day. And then we defecate like once a day, the average person once a day. So if you're just putting that together, why would you compete? And it also just made me think about like, so the elephant, like, we are in no ways elephants. Why would we try to compete with an elephant as something that it's like in its nature, like it was made to do? So it made me think further about like, you know, like comparison. And sometimes like I found myself doing that sometimes, right? Comparing myself to others, like especially in the social media world. And there's like other stuff underlying that. But I think there's this sense of like competition that's under there. It's like, oh, I gotta try to do better or do the same as this person. And it's like, wait a minute, like, first of all, why are you doing that? Second of all, like, if you actually really sit down and like, if someone were to sit down and give you like the, I guess, vitae of their life, like the vitae of their life, and you actually see all that they go through, like all that they've been through, all the things that they had to do, like you'll realize like, okay, it's stupid for me to try to compare myself to anyone. And the other interesting thing, like I heard about elephants, is like they don't really sleep much. And that's partly because they're like foraging all the time to get the food that they eat, right? The food that they eat. So it's like, are you actually not only like, are we not necessarily, we can't do what the elephant does, but like, are we even willing to like do all that foraging to even get to that point? So it's like, it made me think a lot of times of like, you know, when we compare ourselves to others. And it also reminded me that like, I also like believe that humans have like unique like gifts. We all have spiritual gifts, spiritual talents. And it's knowing what is ours, right? Like tapping into our own selves, our own gifts, and like walking in that, not trying to be someone else or competing with someone else. Like, we're all valued, we're all important. So knowing what it is that is our own, so that we can be great. Because like, if you look at the proverb, like it's silly to do something like that, to compete with an elephant at what they do. It's so silly. And when you lose at that, which you probably will, when you lose at that, you're gonna start feeling some kind of way. And it's like, but why? No, like, you were not made to do that, right? There's so many other things that we have inside of ourselves that we were like meant to do, our callings. And so it's just like an encouragement to like lean in and know what it is that we were made to do, and the talents and gifts that we have, and to do that. So yeah, that's my interpretation.
Thank you, Chioma. I love that. And I see a lot of mic taps on the stage on Clubhouse, which means that people are agreeing with everything you just shared with us. And also, I just want to say that Chioma is an amazing writer, storyteller, creator, and has a book that is forthcoming. And Chioma, thank you again for always making time to join me every Wednesday, as my special guest. Now I do want to see if you are able to share with us, the poem that you prepared for today's session in response to, to this proverb. But before you do that, why don't you share with us a story from your childhood that this proverb actually reminds you about?
Okay, so this is a funny story, I guess. What came to mind was actually when I was like 5 years old. And I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I want to run away. And she was just like, okay. And I was, and then I got myself ready and everything. I was trying to pull on my jacket, and I was like, "Can you help me? Can you help me zipper up my jacket?" And she was like, "Okay." And she like zipped up my jacket for me, and then I went out the back door, and like I was walking out like through our like backyard, and then I opened the fence and like I stepped out, and then like I stopped. I looked around, and I was just like, nope. And I came right back. And my mom just like laughed at me. And it was like when I think of this proverb, right? And I think of like that story, it's like this realization is like, Chioma, no, you can't do that. You were not meant to do that. Like you're not about that life. And it also just made me think of like just the times like in like just adulthood as well, or like in my younger teens where like I tried to do things that just like wasn't me. You know what I mean? Like I tried to, what's the term folks use today? Like try to be outside, try to be out in these streets, doing things that's just not me. And it's like you're not made to do that. So like tap into to like be honest with yourself. Like look at your capacity, look at what's in you. So yeah, those are the two things that it made me think about. One, that little childhood story when I thought that at 5 years old I was able to like run away, and like just the fact that I even had to ask for help to zip up my jacket, and I thought I was ready to go out into the world, like like okay girl. So yeah, those are the stories that come to mind.
That's funny. This is very funny. I love asking this question to all my guests for the podcast because it really it's exciting to talk about your childhood. It's exciting to reflect and laugh about it. But at that time you are probably very serious. You're like, this time I'm going to run away, you're never going to see me
Yeah, I really
again.
was, and I don't know what possessed me to do that. Like who I thought I was.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Great, great. Now, for those who are just joining us, my name is Simon Okelo, and I'm in Seattle, Washington. And, I love hosting the Daily African Proverbs. We do this Monday to Friday. And, Wednesdays are one of my favorite days of the Daily African Proverbs, especially because we get to spend time with an incredible, writer, storyteller, creator, and poet, Chioma Sheri, who takes these proverbs and turns them into beautiful poems. One of the ways you can support Chioma is to actually check out her Instagram page, where she has amazing, poems. Her Instagram handle is chioma.sheri, so check that out. And Chioma, share with us today's piece.
Okay, so I actually have two, like one that I made specifically for this, and then another one that I had made some maybe like a couple weeks ago that I thought really fit with this.
Hey, Chioma,
Um
I do need a huge favor from you. Where is your phone? Is it close to you?
oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, 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 it's fine. So just reduce
You
the
hear my
volume and
echo?
yes, yes, yes. I hear the
Oh, it's
echo.
so weird. I'm trying, but it's
Something
not
I
working.
learned recently too is that you can actually plug a headphone into the phone and reduce the volume, and there will be no echo at all. I learned that from a guest I was hosting here on Monday. Yeah, so try it, and then we can continue on. But really, I'm really excited to hear what Simply E has to say. So maybe we just give Simply E a moment to share with everyone who is joining us for today's session, why the Daily African Proverbs is important for her and for our community to continue building, and also what everyone in the room can do to support right before you drop this poem. So, okay.
Absolutely, and I'm having fun listening to y'all this morning on this one, Simon, because this proverb is actually funny to me too. I giggled a lot. But in this space of African Father in America for the Daily African Proverbs, this means a lot to me. This space means a lot to me. because I'm able to look at what's going on, slow down just a little bit, and breathe and say, what does this actually mean? What were those who walked this earth before me trying to say? And what about today? What about how this builds us today? And so having a moment to just sit down, reflect, um, and then build on that tomorrow is a great thing. And so that's what the daily African Proverbs brings to me. And if you're wondering if you like the space, which I'm sure you do because you're here, um, when you have a space that has like minds, or you want to have like minds, you ping your friends, you bring your friends with you. So that's a great idea in this space. And never forget that African Proverbs, the daily African Proverbs, is also on YouTube, which is where Simon is. You can go and see his wonderful face. So you've got YouTube going at the same time that you've got Clubhouse. And if you're on YouTube and you're curious about Clubhouse, come over here one day and see what that's like. You can also
Mhm.
tweet, and on Instagram is where you actually see the proverb early in the morning. So you're able to impact others by responding there as well. And um, you can also tag a few friends so you can see what they have to say. Especially this one today. I can't wait to see the responses on Instagram and on YouTube of how people are taking this one in. Now, as far as the proverb itself, I had trouble actually articulating with it, but the best I could do is similar to what Chioma was stating. It's like your own lane. Like you can only compete with yourself, really. So if you go outside and you start doing something that somebody else is doing, it's going to be it's not going to be authentic. So what do you look like trying to compete with an elephant who's full of it, by the way? You can't, do you really want to be full of it? As a human being, you're not on the same scale as an elephant. So, um, you know, I don't want to be full of defecation to the same level as an elephant because one, I can't handle it, and for two, I don't want to be full of it. So that's my interpretation today of this cute African proverb.
Thank you, Simply E. It's always a joy having you here with us. And now Chioma is back, and I do really want to give, Gogo Rutendo Ngara a shout out. For those of you who are here with us, you probably know that every Thursday, Gogo Rutendo Ngara is always our special guest, and she's here in the audience just listening in. Chioma, you should be very proud. I am proud. I'm proud that
I
Gogo
am.
is
When I
here.
saw her come in, I was like,
Anyhow, now we want to continue on, and I just want to let everyone who is in the audience and on Clubhouse know that in about 13 minutes, I will be turning off hand raising. So this is a good time for you to raise your hand if you want to join us on stage, so that you can also share your perspective on today's proverb. And also continue pinging people into the room, and feel free to join us on YouTube. And really, I would love for you to actually subscribe to my YouTube channel, because my goal is to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of this month, and I can't do that without your support. And for everybody who has already subscribed, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Now back to you, Chioma. Share with us the piece that you came up with. I know you have two, so feel free to share both.
yeah, I do.
Thank you
Okay.
so
All right.
much.
Thank you so much, Simon. So the first is actually, so this is the one I made specifically for this, and it's actually two haikus. I was like, let me play around a little bit. Let me have do something different. So it's a series of two haikus. So haikus are five. So a haiku is like 575 syllables. So I'll start with that one. Almost killed myself trying to beat an elephant at defecating. Almost lost my breath taking an elephant's test instead of my own. So that's the first poems. All right, so the second one. That's that baby's calling, not yours. I got plans for you and open doors. So what you worked up about the dreams of someone else? Why you trying to move the way they do? Baby, I got plans for you. Things take time, just like fine wine. I'm the master of the clock. Man-made time is not my watch, so just you watch how you flourish. Baby, that's that baby's calling, not yours. Blinded, don't lose sight. Hopeless, don't lose hope. Cause I got plans for you. Hear me calling. Here's me calling. This your call. And I'm finished.
Thank you so much, Chioma. Yeah, I have I have so much to say about that, both pieces, but I want to give Simply E a chance to just respond, and then I have one more question for you, and then we'll open the stage for our audience members to also chime in and share their perspectives. Simply E, what are your thoughts in regards to the two pieces?
I love the fact that Chioma used the word baby in this because this is such a cute proverb. And I think that we can relate to not only adults, but kids in this one quite a bit. Not only just kids, but the elemental thought of something so simple as to say, never compete with the elephant in defecating. So I think just her treatment of that and being sensitive to the fact that this is a simple concept, I think is beautiful.
Thank you, Simply.
Excellent, excellent. So, in many parts of the world, especially here in the US, if you look at social media, especially, you will know that it's Black History Month. And for me, since I moved to the US, especially from 2005 until 2020, I have been producing Kijiji Night. Kijiji means village in Kiswahili. I've been producing Kijiji Night at Seattle Art Museum, and this is always the only event during Black History Month in Seattle that brings the African community, African American community, with the rest of the world to Seattle Art Museum, which is a prestigious venue, and most of people that look like us don't even go there. But every February we always take over the whole place. We have traditional African dancers, we have poets, we have in fact in 2020 the headlining artist was Jamere Morgan, who is the son of Gramps Morgan, and Gramps Morgan is from the Morgan heritage family. So we had reggae, the Caribbean community also involved. So, I thought about Black History Month this year and last year, where I have not been able to organize Kijiji Night. And I just wanted to, engage you, Chioma, especially because you've celebrated more Black History Months than I have. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? And what should people who are not in the US really learn and do in order to also be a part of Black History Month celebration?
Oh, thank you so much, Simon, for this question. It's such an interesting question because, I like to think that Black History Month is actually like Black History is every day, to be honest. But for me, I think Black History Month, just having it as a month, is kind of just a reminder, a moment for us to like really lean in, because I feel like we get so much like just so caught up in life and just things in the world that sometimes we forget. So I think Black History Month is a reminder to remind ourselves of our history, our culture, our resiliency, our strength. It's a moment to be empowered. It's a moment to encourage others. Another thing that, like, I don't know, I think it might have hit me more like this year is that, sometimes we think like Black history is just, what happened like 100 years ago, or this, or it's only the Harriet Tubmans, the Martin Luther Kings. But Black history is like our grandma. Black history is us, where we're living and where we are Black history. So for me, it's like really trying to be more intentional. I mean, I try to do this all year round, but being more intentional about like supporting Black businesses, right? Like also myself, like that's another thing. Like, how do I also take care of myself, right? Me as a Black person, like, how do I also take care of myself as well, and my people, my community, my family? So for me, Black history is just I don't know, it's just an encouragement to lean in. And I think for anyone who is, trying to celebrate Black history, I would say, hey, support Black folks. Simple. Support Black folks. Go to some events. Pick up a book. There's so many people like on social media doing things, saying things. Some people who you may not know or you may not be of the Black community. I'll just say, hey, sit back. Listen. Support with your money in different ways. So that's what I would say. So yeah, Black History Month for me is just a moment to really remember and to lean in and to find ways in like how can I take action, because like in 100 years I'm gonna be people gonna look back and they're gonna be like, hey, like what people gonna say about me, what people gonna say about you, Simon, you know what I mean? We're a part of this Black history, and it's ongoing. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Wow. Okay, you brought us to a really good place to begin hearing, what our audience members, what our friends and family who are in the audience today can, share with us in regards to their perspective on today's proverb. And I also want to, in a moment, actually, I'll just do it now because he's our guest and he's joining us for the very first time. Litha is joining us from South Africa. Tracy and everyone on stage, just forgive me. I met Litha, virtually a few days ago, but then we connected on Zoom right before this session. I was introduced to Litha through Gogo Rutendo Ngara, and he's an incredible leader. He is involved with the Ancient African Wisdom organization, which is also led by Gogo Rutendo Ngara. Litha, I know you're on stage. You are unmuted. Your mic is just ready for you to say something. So I just want you to share with us just quickly what comes to your mind when you hear this proverb that says, never compete with the elephant in defecating. And Litha is, an incredible leader and also an initiated Sangoma, So he has just a lot to say. But what I know about him is that he's an awesome human. So Litha, unmute. The way you unmute is to go to the bottom right corner. You'll see that thing that looks like a microphone. Tap it and then, share with us your voice briefly.
Hey, thank you so much, Simon. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. This is my first time, and yeah, well, big ups on this incredible community that you've worked with. I mean, it's amazing. When I heard about it, I was like, wow, this is insane. Um, so what does it mean for me? I think it's all about staying in your own lane for me. That's the number one thing. Is like, we were talking with Gogo Rutendo about purpose and just identifying who you are and what you're here to bring to this beautiful world, and there's enough space for everyone in the world. So it's just about finding your space and doing what you got to do, whatever that is, in line with your calling, in line with your ancestors, in line with the reason for your birthing into this beautiful world. Make this world better just by being you. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It means a lot that you made your way to Clubhouse. I'm just grateful. And now we are going to go all the way back to Tracy. Tracy, thank you for your continued support. What comes to your mind, and where are you joining us from, by the way, when you hear today's proverb, never compete with the elephant in defecating? Yeah, I hear you. Carry on.
Good evening. Thank you. My phone just rang. Well, I'm just really happy to be here. Hi, Simon, Chioma, Simply E, and everyone in the audience. Letha, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. This made me chuckle. There's so many different directions you can take with this proverb, but when I read it, what came to mind was like, first off, elephants are highly intuitive, emotional beings. And so it just reminds me that, spending my energy currency to compete with someone else is really keeping me from connecting with my own intuition. And, I've heard a couple people say, like, stay in your lane, and that's beautiful. But it's also about just show up in your most beautiful, brilliant light. The elephant isn't trying to compete, it's just what it is. It's emotional, it's intuitive. And so, how can we show up in our brilliant light, shining in really just connecting with the deepest parts of us, which are inner wisdom, our inner knowing, our intuition. This is Tracy, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tracy. I'm grateful that you're here. Now, let's go to Dr. Ijoma. Ijoma, how are you doing? It's been a minute. Share with us your perspectives and also share with us where you're joining us from today.
Yes, yes, yes. Good morning, Brother Simon. Good morning, everybody in the room. I hope you're well. My name is Dr. Ijeoma Opara, calling from Detroit, Michigan, by way of Nigeria, West Africa. And I'm so happy to be in this room today. You are right. It has been a minute. I had to take a Clubhouse hiatus because I am a frontliner in the pandemic, and also doing a lot of work in health justice. And so we got a lot busy with Omarion and them. So yes, we had to take a break there, but I'm back and doing a lot of work. I tell folks, my mission in life is to eliminate anti-Black racism from medicine, healthcare, and public health globally. So doing that does require being on all platforms, both in real life, in person, so to speak. I mean, social media is real life at this point too, right? But on all platforms, and really moving that message. So I am back on Clubhouse, and thank you for creating this room. As I reflect on this topic, on this proverb, I smile just like everybody. Never compete with the elephant in defecating. Um, and there are various versions of the proverb. I really respect and appreciate the offering that has been mentioned. I think what Chioma established and folks are building on, absolutely, knowing your lane, understanding your purpose and leaning into that. That's what I had to do this year as part of my resolutions. My two big resolutions were, one, self-care, exquisite self-care, and to be really, frankly, aggressive even in taking care of myself and prioritizing that. And the second is to lean fully into my purpose and really just focus in that and not really get distracted by what he, she, or they are doing. And respect folks, but understand that I, just like Chioma said, have my own talents and giftings, and to do that. And why this room is just, I think, spiritually ordained for me this morning is last night I was part of a room, and even earlier in the evening too. And there's some spaces that are simply toxic. Let me put it that way. I think we all know those spaces that are just simply toxic and the energy is just not right. And sometimes I feel or talk myself into, well, no, you need to expose yourself to diverse experiences and diverse mindsets, and be able to know how to engage with folks that think differently, operate differently. But what I've come to, the stage in my life and the age in my life is that, one thing is different, another thing is toxic. You understand? And so being able to identify that which is toxic and not helpful and not constructive, or moving towards, in joy and abundance and love. I don't need to be part of that. And I don't need to learn anything from that except the reinforcement that I don't need to be in that space, right? And so, yeah, never compete with folks who are gifted in defecating, who are FOS, like one of our sisters said this morning. Let them do their thing. That's not my thing, and I don't need to learn. That's not a skill I need to pick up. Okay, not today. And so I just appreciate that reminder of, okay, hon, you know your purpose, you know your mission in life. Focus, lean into that, do that work. Let other folks do what they do. God bless them. But you know what you need to do. You know you're about joy. You know you're about abundance. You know you're about, moving forward and building and liberation. Do that. And folks are not about that life. God bless them. And you are fine doing what you do. So I just appreciate that interpretation. I also want to add very quickly, and then I'll mute my mic, is just also because I always like to think sort of critically and say, well, what else? What else could be going on here? What else is maybe missing? What else is like under the carpet that we can learn from here? And I did a little bit of review and realized that forest, I believe this proverb is primarily from Equatorial Guinea, even though throughout the continent we all have variations of it. But Equatorial Guinea, part of the landscape of the country is the rainforest, right? And the forest elephants are considered the engineers of the rainforest, the gardeners. Why? Because as Chioma said, they forage, and their foraging is with purpose. They maintain the ecological stability of the forest because they are pruning and they're cleaning the forest, and they're moving things away. They're shaping the ecological landscape of the forest, and their defecation, which is of course a natural consequence, fertilizes the forest. It's part of this beautiful, natural, virtuous cycle of nature, right? In the forest. So they maintain the ecological integrity, the ecosystem of the forest. And that's part of their role there, just like every other life form. And so one other interpretation I want to offer to build on what the beautiful foundation we've already laid right now around this proverb is that, never compete with the elephant defecating because they're doing their work. They're doing what they're supposed to do in terms of maintaining, the ecosystem. That's part of their job, to maintain and garden and prune and engineer and architecture the place, or be an architect of the landscape that we will ultimately benefit from. And their defecation goes in and fertilizes the soil, which, by the way, rainforest soil isn't very naturally fertile. So it does require and need that defecation to build itself so that other things can grow. So getting in the way of that process actually hurts us. Actually hurts me, right? If I did that, because I'm benefiting from being part of this overall ecosystem. I think it's still related to that first thought. If we let people do what they do, they somehow are fed into this ecosystem that ultimately we all benefit from. I also need to be about the business of doing what I do so that I'm also feeding into the ecosystem that they benefit from, and we all benefit together as a collective. So that's just my thoughts. And I thank you again, Simon and Chioma and Simply E, for this beautiful space, which has really nourished my spirit, especially after my experiences last night and, never again. And so I appreciate you for grounding me on this morning. This is Dr. Opara, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you so much, Dr. Para. Your powerful words of wisdom, are just so appreciated. And as we continue on, I want to welcome everyone else who is here with us in the room. Thank you so much for making the time. I want to give Simply a chance to just reset the Clubhouse side of things, and also you can speak to YouTube as well before we hear from Aduo and everybody else. Simply.
Hi, everybody. It's great to see everybody below and on stage. African Father in America is actually the club that we're under right now. If you're enjoying the space, be sure to join the club on Clubhouse. And of course, if you're able to view on YouTube, you want to go and follow on YouTube as well. That's just a way to stay in tune without having to lift a finger. Daily African Proverbs is a great space. I know you're enjoying it. I know you're loving it. Join us Monday through Friday. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you, Simply. I feel like you need to create some ads. Like, your voice is just so amazing. Anyway, one day we will have you here from Monday to Friday, but every Wednesday is enough for now, and it's deeply appreciated. Let's hear from Aduo. Aduo, I've seen you in the space, and I've received, feedback from you about the work we are doing here, and, you are truly appreciated. When you see this proverb from Equatorial Guinea, never compete with the elephant in defecating, what comes to your mind? Also share with us where you're joining us from, please. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. Thank you, Chioma, for your words, Simon, for the start of this club. And I'm probably not going to share this space with anybody that I know on Clubhouse. Like, this is my space, right? So,
I'm going to keep it sacred.
but it's a grounding space, right? There's a lot that goes on in my thoughts sometimes, and this is a grounding space for me. So I'm going to be a little selfish for a minute, but this proverb, I happen to really enjoy uh, African proverbs because they are definitely thought provoking. And this proverb reminded me of my childhood in that, competition is a great thing when it relates to, sports, uh, and, well, I guess mainly sports, right? You can just cover the gamut in that way. But I think when I think about the proverb and how it reminds me of my childhood, I think what it reminds me of is how out of balance I was, how I was able to take competition and place it in areas of my life which would keep me off balance, because competition is not necessary in all facets of life. And it also causes me to think of how that lack of balance allowed me to be in spaces with people who did not accept me, but more importantly, my lack of self acceptance. And so it's not necessary for me to compete with anybody if we're not in that type of arena where competition is, the call to action, right? It's just not necessary to have that thought process as part of anything that one would do. And so, even to understand that this morning, it offers me a sense of peace, because now much of what I didn't give myself, it's not that I didn't have a good enough foundation, as a child. I received from my household what was available. But in looking at my childhood and seeing where I am now, I know that much of the work that has been done because it was work that I owed myself. If I was not able to get it from my household, I had to give it to myself. And it doesn't allow me to be resentful at the fact that I didn't get it from the household, because you can only receive what's available. And I'm very clear about that. But to be able to give it to myself and know that that is exactly what I have done, and that process is ongoing, it offers me a sense of peace to know that I would never give thought to compete with not only the elephant and whatever the elephant does, but that I've been able to find a space that belongs to me because it is me, to clean up that space, to be more of one with myself, and understand that I don't have to compete at any time with anything at all, because I'm just really clear it's just not necessary. So I really would like to thank you and all of the shares so far. And now I'm probably going to hold on to this space for a little while until I feel comfortable enough to invite somebody else in. But thank you.
Yeah, you're
And I'm
welcome.
calling in from, I'm here in Florida by way of Harlem. Yeah, I'm here in Florida by way of Harlem.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Your presence is deeply appreciated. And yes, you don't have to share this space with anyone yet. That's allowed. Makuba, it's wonderful that you're here with us. I know that you've recently been traveling in the continent. Share with us where you are now and what this proverb that we are discussing from Equatorial Guinea means to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Simon. And yes, I've been traveling all over the continent. I just recently got back, so I'm between jet lag and getting ready to get my mind right of being back in the US. Because as you know, when you go home, your spirit is different, your mind is different, and it's a totally you become a totally different person. So thank you. Every time I look at African proverbs, I try to go deep into what our ancestors were thinking. And when I look into the African elephant is the largest animal in the jungle, and therefore, to me, symbolically a representative of every animal, kind of like the continent of Africa. We bring a lot of diversity in the different countries, pre-colonial and even post-colonial. The amazing ways that we were able to amass ourselves with our inventions. When you look at Uganda, you look at how they brought the C-section to the world through the Bonoro people. When you look at Congo, you look at the Ishango bone and how they were able to bring mathematics to the world. And we have all these different facets of our people that combined together make us very powerful. When the African elephant stands on the mountain, he stands majestically, representative of all the animals. So you need not to compete because together you are stronger than you are apart. And so I think we should apply that concept in our lives as well as people from the continent. This is Makuba, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you so much, Makuba. When you're saying that when the elephant stands up in the mountain, it's so majestic, it reminded me of the last trip that I took. Well, the last trip that I took to Kenya, where I also went into the wild, and I saw a family of elephants, and I saw how the males in that family cleared the way, very many meters before the females and the little ones showed up. The males walked ahead and cleared the way, and it was just a magnificent thing to witness, and the majesty of how big these animals were. The car that we were in looked like a toy, and so
Yeah.
it's just incredible. It's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Anyhow, now I know that Thandisizwe is here with us. Thandisizwe, how are you? Where are you joining us from? And what are your perspectives on today's proverb? Thandisizwe, when you have a moment, we would love to hear your voice. If you're not close to your mic, we will quickly go to Jay. Jay, how are you doing? We'll come back to you, Thandisizwe. How are you doing? Where are you joining us from? And what does today's proverb mean to you? By the way, for those who are meeting Jay for the first time, she's a big part of the foundation of the Daily African Proverbs. She contributed immensely to the building of this space brick by brick. Share with us your perspectives, please.
You're always so kind, Brother Simon. Thank you so much. And thank you, Sister Chioma and Simply E. And Chioma, as you were speaking, you were snatching the words right out of my mouth. And so I had to pivot just a little bit on my interpretation of the proverb, and very quickly, I was just really moved, Simon, by what you said about the elephants and how huge and majestic they were, but they're also so sensitive. To see an elephant cry just breaks my heart. But anyway, I thought about sports was mentioned, and I thought about being an elephant and that someone else's talents and gifts, that we're not to be jealous of them or envious of them, because it's a waste of time and energy. And this past Saturday, I was out on a walk with a friend and her daughter was running. And I said to her, "You run like a gazelle." And she said, "What do you mean by that?" And I said, "You are so graceful." And it was just effortless, the way it was smooth, the way you were running. It was like you were gliding. And she says, I never thought of it like that. And so with this proverb, I thought about how someone else does have certain natural and innate gifts and talents, and we should applaud them for that and find our own space and our own place and our own talents and really bring those forth, bring those out, and make the best use of those that we were designed and created and gifted with. This is Jay speaking. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jay. I'm just so grateful for your contribution today. Let's hear from you, brother. How are you? Where are you joining us from? And what are your perspectives on today's proverb?
We gotta go up in there, big fish. Oh, pardon, self.
Okay. We'll come back to you in a moment. Let's go back to...
Hey, Simon.
Yes,
Simon,
brother.
I'm
Yes.
ready.
Okay.
Peace and love, family. Yeah, this is brother Earth. I'm calling from the Carolinas, and when I look at this, peace and love to you all, and y'all been bringing forth some very good insight. I'm kind of been all over the place. I'm trying to get a few things done. But what I will add to the conversation is when I first read it, what it made me think of, I was having a conversation with my cousin one day, and she was telling me how she was talking to this guy, and he was a tit for tat. Every time she do something, he would go do that, and he would, and she ended up breaking up with the dude. And she said the reason that she broke up with the dude was because he can't really ever be himself. He always trying to do something according to what she was doing, and that's what that's you get beside yourself trying to compete or do what the elephant doing. And then the Moorish American government, we are taught, especially trying to be on the same team or working with someone. If you make it a thing about competition, usually competition turns into opposition. So that way it could stunt, productivity or moving forward due to ones get lost in the competition factor. And the last point I will make about it is another way that I can look at it as it's an old saying too that if everybody go eye for an eye, then when everybody end up blind, what are you gonna do? So, like I said, if they just keep dropping feces everywhere and you keep dropping feces everywhere, everything gonna end up being stinking. So peace and love, family.
Thank you so much. That's exactly correct. There's nothing that I can add to that. But brother, thank you for your continued support. I want to come back to Thandisizwe briefly. Thandisizwe, are you there? How are you today? Where are you joining us from? Share your perspectives on this proverb from Equatorial Guinea, please. Okay. I suspect that she's unable to get to the mic at the moment. But you are truly appreciated, and your contribution is always uplifting. But now we want to go all the way to Kenya, Kisumu. Raphael, how are you? Thank you for being on stage. Share with us your thoughts on today's proverb. Thank you so much. Oh, I can't hear your voice. I see that you are unmuted, Raphael, but I cannot hear your voice. Okay, Raphael, we'll come back to you in a moment. Just check your volume, check your. Maybe you can jump out of the app and then come back in. That might help. But we'll go on to Bibi. Bibi, how are you doing? Where are you joining us from? And what are your perspectives on this proverb? Thank you so much. Raphael will come back to you in a second.
Good morning, everyone. If it's morning for you, good afternoon, good evening if it is. I am doing great, Simon. I'm actually in Tennessee right now. That's where we've decided to stay for now. But yes, today's proverb is very uplifting, and I've actually the first thing that came to my mind was teachers. I don't know why, but I think I do now. I didn't know why at first, but to me, when I look at elephants, especially the elephants in the forest, they're like teachers. And the elephants, they eat seeds. And those seeds are the same ones that once they defecate, they become the future plants. And teachers are like that too. It's like they plant seeds in our children's lives or in our lives, and whatever we learn from them is what um, will it's what's going to determine how we become, depending on how further we go into the studies with what we learn when we're kids. So the message I got from this is let's know who we are, and let's not compete, because we all play different roles in each other's lives, in everyone's life. So it's like um, our sizes are the way they are for a reason and for a purpose. And that's just my take. I know it's complicated, but I'm working on that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, baby. I truly appreciate you, and also I appreciate your contribution. It means a lot. And I want to come back to Thandisizwe. Thandisizwe, can you tap your mic if you're there? I just want to make sure your voice is heard. Okay, I know you're probably unable to speak yet. Raphael, are you available now? Okay, say something so that.
Yes.
Aha, wonderful. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Simon. Hello, everybody. My name is Raphael Juma. I'm joining you from Kisumu, Kenya. The proverb today, I've been attending these sessions for a while now, but I haven't had an opportunity to speak. And today, I'm very glad to share my interpretations of this proverb. Never compete with the elephant in defecating. Before I share my proverb, I've learned a lot from the previous speakers, starting with Makuba there, who said how influential elephants are in the jungle with regards to the African influencing nature in the world. And that is very great. And it's just evident everywhere how Africans are active, Africans are breaking grounds everywhere. And we, thank you for that interpretation. Letha and Jay also said something about influence on character and just wanting to be on your lane, your own space with regards to your talents. That's also good. And I also, gathered something from Chioma. The research she did on the proverb is just amazing. So my interpretation of this proverb, I will start by just looking at the word defecation. Defecation is, something that a sight that you don't want to be around, something abhorrent, something not amusing, something that, it's not a joy yet, it's not entertaining, it's bad, So if you want to relate it, especially when it comes from an elephant, when, Chioma there gave the research on how many times an elephant defecates a day, it's just huge. And so I want to imagine a sight of this huge, bad, abhorrent, thing to see. So if you want to compete with that, it's like you want to compete with somebody who is an expert in bad character, somebody who has just crafted a niche in doing such huge, abhorrent, and non-amusing behavior or activity. You don't want to compete that. You want to, go the opposite direction. You want to run away from it. So my interpretation is we cannot compete with bad character. We cannot compete with bad behavior. We cannot compete in an activity that is not pleasing. And instead, we can encourage competition that is positive, competition that is, building of character, that is building of careers, that is building of opportunities, something like that. That's my interpretation. Rafael Juma speaking from Kisumu. Thank you.
Thank you, Raphael. I just appreciate your perspectives as well. And, Chioma is here smiling, and she'll give us a quick recap of, everything that most of our speakers shared today in just a moment. Let's hear from Sensors. Sensors, how are you? Where are you joining us from? And what does today's proverb from Equatorial Guinea mean to you? Oh, and by the way, for those who are meeting Census for the first time, she is a huge part of this space and also the Africa Day Club. So if you want to actually be involved with the production of Africa Day this year, Census is a good person to follow and connect with. She's deeply involved with producing events in the Africa Day Club every week, every Saturday, 9 a.m. PST. Oh, Census must be away from her phone, so we will carry on to Vivian. Vivian, thank you so much for joining us for today's session of the Daily African Proverbs. How are you? Where are you joining us from? And what are your perspectives on today's proverb?
Hello, Simon. Thank you so much. And hello to Chioma and Simply E for inviting me into this beautiful space. I greet you all in peace, love, and eternal light always. I am bringing you sunshine from the state of Florida, the Tampa Bay area. So hello to my fellow sister Floridian and for those that are in this space as well. Sunshine always. I am very honored to be in this space as a lover of words and a believer that words are wisdom. It is wisdom from the mouths of our ancestors, and it carries it is a container of those things that we need in order to continue our path and our journey where we currently are and where we're going. And I looked at the proverb that says never compete with the elephant and defecating. It made me think about the fact that I love elephants, and I did a study some time ago just out of my own curiosity, in that learning that elephants are of a matriarchal um, hierarchy, that there is a older elephant, female elephant, that leads the herd. And so it reminded me of my grandmother, my great grandmother, as a matter of fact, who I would always sit and I would go with her as she would go and gather. She would stand outside in the sunshine and she would just commune, with her higher power, which is God. And in the ways that she knew how to do that, whether it was on walks or gathering herbs and making tinctures, it was her way of passing on knowledge and information to me. And so when Simply E pinged me, it reminded me that was my ancestors to be in this room, my grandmother and those that are here, inviting me to sit at the feet and listen to the words of wisdom that are coming forth, because they transcend time to me. There's again of creativity, encouragement, guidance, and a grounding wisdom for you to continue along your path. So as I look at that, I see the elephant as symbolic in being my life's journey, our life's journey. I offer the perspective of the defecating, and that is something that is a natural process of life. That as though I understood, as the brother that spoke before me said, there are times where, there are things, bad character and bad things. I've learned to embrace all of it as it is necessary for me to learn and to become and to evolve as I move forward in life, as it is with us all as we grow. And so the defecation for me may be the stories that aren't so beautiful, those things that are part of my life that aren't really nice or kind. And I don't have to compete. It's not a matter of competing, but a matter of completing my path, my course, my journey, and knowing that it is all necessary for me, and that as I share that according to who I am and how I'm built, then it will then again provide wisdom and encouragement and help for others who may hear it. So I am grateful again, knowing that the elephant, which is my life, knowing that in the excrements, those things that weren't so kind or so good, that I can share them in a way that are uniquely to me, as everyone has said, and knowing that it will help me to complete my course and not have to compete, no competition with anything or anyone outside of myself, allowing that to influence who I am. It's a reminder from the Ancient of Days that I am enough, and everything that I have, I've been fully equipped, and that with this matriarchal divine energy, I'll be able to move forward. So my name is Vivian. I'm so honored to have been here, and thank you again, Simon, for allowing me to speak in this space, and Simply E for inviting me to sit at wisdom. And my name is Vivian, and I am complete.
Thank you so much, Vivian. I'm grateful that you're here, and I'm grateful to all our amazing contributors today. I do want to quickly read, a contribution from Mala Harris, who is also a regular attendee of the Daily African Proverbs. And Mala said that this is her interpretation to the proverb for today. The proverb again says, "Never compete with the elephant in defecating." And Mala's response is, and she shared this on YouTube, and I was saying earlier, my goal is to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of February. So the link is at the top of the room on Clubhouse. Please click the link and subscribe, and also leave your comments the way Mala did. She said, "This is a warning and caution to not fall victim to being in competition that isn't worthy or winnable. Let others be great at whatever they choose. Use your time to master your own talents." So with that, we are going to come back to you, Chioma. Sensors. Okay. I'll pass you the mic.
Okay, thank you very much, and glad to have everyone here. The Daily African Proverb has been going on since last year. It was my introduction to Clubhouse. So when I listened to Dr. Ijeoma speaking and talking about Celtic rooms, I found peace joining the Daily Africa Proverb as my first landing spot. And, just starting from there, it helped open up doors for me, but also keep me grounded. And I've always told Simon that regarding the proverb, never compete with the elephant in defecating, I have done some work in wildlife and had the opportunity of being around elephants and flying over them. I think they're just majestic and beautiful, and they have a heart. They're one of the animals that we see that in, and they're unique. Their poop, if I might say, it's a footprint of the elephant, the life the elephant has lived, and what it's eating. It's almost like it has its own genes in it. And when I tie this to that proverb, I one thing I would say is, it's true. We are all unique, and we have to embrace that uniqueness and not feel we can become copies of others. Even if we try to, our genetic imprint, our imprint will still come out. And that is basically telling us to keep ourselves grounded to who we are. That you can, no matter how much you try to remake yourself, it has to relate to your story, to your identity, and that is what keeps you going. That's the motivation, but that also reminds you that your value cannot be measured or compared with another person's value. This is Senses. I'm complete.
Thank you so much, Sensors, for your contribution and for all the amazing work that you continue doing. I remember when I was working in South Sudan, it was right after the peace deal was signed, and it was actually very incredible to see the elephants being the first animals to come back to South Sudan after the war. And then after that, other animals began following. And so, we were being told that the elephants were also amongst the first to run away to Central Africa Republic, and all the animals followed them there. So it's just amazing how the elephants know their home. And as Sensa was saying, their defecation is like their footprint. Anyhow, I do want to just thank you, Gogo Rutendo Ngara, for taking the time to be here with us until this time, and also Letha. And I also want to recognize Joseph Kafunda, who co-hosts with me, the Travel in Africa room that we host every Wednesday. It used to be at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but from today, it's going to be at 11:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So join us and follow him if you want to learn more about that amazing event, where we literally, share with you some of the traveling destinations in Africa, and also we share with you some of the traveling opportunities that we are running ourselves and that you can be a part of. So now we want to, go towards the end of our conversation today by passing on the microphone to Chioma, so that, Chioma, please go ahead and just share, some of the nuggets that you picked up from everybody's, thoughts, and then share the poem in closing, and also remember to share how everyone who is listening can support the amazing work that you do.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you. Everyone just shared so much good stuff. So I'm just kind of gonna give a rundown of some of the things that I heard and that hit me. So Simply E said, you can only compete with yourself. Do you really want to be full of it? So what the elephant holds, are you willing? Do you want to be full of that? Letha said, there's enough space for everyone in the world, so it's about finding your space. Tracy said that competing actually keeps us from connecting with our own intuition and keeps us from showing up in our own brilliant lives. Dr. Ijoma mentioned leaning fully into our purpose, and she said, let other folks do what they need to do. Adwa said competition is not necessary, and that really hit me. Competition is not necessary. Makuba said, together we're stronger than we are apart, which really hit me because it kind of made me think of there's a scripture, I think it's Corinthians, where it talks about the body and its different parts and how all parts are needed. So that really brought me back to that. Jay said not to be jealous of someone else's gifts because it's a waste of time and energy. Brother Earth, I really like what you said. You said if everyone goes an eye for an eye, everybody's gonna be blind. If everyone's dropping feces, the whole place is gonna stay. So come on. Raphael said we cannot compete with bad character. BB said that this lets us know that this proverb lets us know who we are, because we all play different roles in each other's lives. Census said this keeps us ourselves grounded in who we are, that our value cannot be measured with someone else's. Vivian said, it's not a matter of competing, it's a matter of completing. And I said, ooh, I need to put that on my wall. And Marla said, let others be great at whatever they choose. Use your time to master your own talents. So yeah, those are some of the rundowns of the things that hit me, or the gems for me. And I will close by reading the poems again, and then letting you know how you all can support me. So the first poem is 2 haikus. Almost killed myself trying to beat an elephant at defecating. Almost lost my breath taking an elephant's test instead of my own. All right, the second poem. That's that baby's calling, not yours. I got plans for you and open doors. So what you worked up about the dreams of someone else? Why you trying to move the way they do? Baby, I got plans for you. Things take time, just like fine wine. I'm the master of the clock. Man-made time is not my watch, so just you watch how you flourish. Baby, that's that baby's calling, not yours. Blinded, don't lose sight. hopeless, don't lose hope, because I got plans for you. Hear me calling. Here's me calling. This your call. Thank you. And so y'all can just support me by following me here, follow me on my IG, Chioma.Cherie, just engaging with me. As Simon says, like, I'm manifesting a book. So if you have any resources or know of anything or any people that you all can connect me with, or if you yourself want to connect, please do. So yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you, Simon, for this space. Like, I'm really just grateful for it and just grateful for what you do. This is a sacred space, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Chioma. I will help you. Well, I'll offer my skills that I learned when I did this book, I don't know, many people don't know that this book that I've been talking about for years is coming out March 7th. It's called Rooted in Love. Can you see it? Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah. And those who are on Clubhouse can't see it. But if you go to my link tree, which is on my Instagram, profile, you can actually, get the pre-sale link, and then you'd be one of the first people to get a copy of this book. This book does not talk about African Proverbs. The one for the African Proverbs is coming soon, but this one talks about the work that I've been doing with One Vibe Africa, and it also has, stories from some of the artists that I've worked with over the years, some of the leaders that I've connected with over the years. It looks like we have a few more people on the YouTube live stream that want to see how the book looks like, so I'll just share it. It's real. I have a copy of it in real life. And, if you go to my Linktree now, you can literally go to Barnes and Nobles and be able to get the pre-sale copy of the book, so that when it's out March 7th, you'll be amongst the first people to get a copy of it. But I also just wanted to thank you all. We had about 100 people who joined us for today's conversation on Clubhouse. And we had, almost 20 people that joined us on YouTube. And that's growth, that's growth. Every good thing takes time. And, just like today's proverb, we are not competing with anyone. We are creating our own space. And this space is sacred and beautiful. And we will continue building it brick by brick. And I actually truly want to thank you, Tiff. Tiff is in the audience. She's a warrior, literally, and was able to protect this space when it was still a baby, and was able to contribute to its growth until today. So, Tiff, thank you for being in the room, and thank you for all the work that you do. With that, we've come to the very tail end of our conversation today. I finally just want to encourage you to follow me on YouTube, really, because as I said, I want to get to 2,000 people by the end of the month. Thank you all so much, and have a beautiful day. And thank you, Chioma. I'll see you next Wednesday.
African father in America. Tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, jikaze. African father in America. Tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington.